Hey guys, I just got done putting some stuff on eBay, so I'm going to get through doing these reviews. If you don't know, this is for my blog about my procrastination habit, and every time I go see something, I like to put up a review about it. I think I just like to delude myself that people actually care what I have to say about movies, but I actually saw two movies today. First one I saw was Captain America. Second one was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. But since I saw Captain America first, I'm going to start with that and then go into Harry Potter. But uh, I want to start by saying no, I have not read any of the Captain America comics ever published. I've watched a review of Countdown. I believe that one was Marvel. No, wait, Ultimatum was Marvel. Sorry, to all the nerds. I saw a review of Ultimatum, and that's as close as I got to understanding Captain America, really. So, I'm going to start by saying that I did really like this movie. I didn't like it as much as I liked Thor, but I did really like it. Part of it is that it took place in the late 1940s, and I just love old stuff. The visual aesthetics this comic book movie had, I just absolutely adored it. I loved everything about it. I even love the way that they kind of CG'd this guy to be much smaller than I presumed he really was, because it's like somebody else pointed out before, you do kind of see at some points that proportionately his head's too big for his body. It doesn't quite make sense. But yeah, yeah, though I gotta say, I very much preferred everything up to he gets to the prison, because I just love the backstory more than anything. It's kind of endearing to watch him try and do something that everybody tells him he can't. That's really what the origin story comes down to. And the thing is that I don't even usually care for action in movies. I'd much rather hear the story or have the story be told to me. But I loved watching him just go through all these action scenes, for lack of better terms, because I don't want to say beating out the bad guys, because it kind of felt like he was originally supposed to be almost sort of a pacifist, like avoid killing at every turn, and yet here he is automatically shooting his gun off, automatically throwing people over a plane. It feels like he was the type of guy who would just look for some other way around it before anything. Though, aside from Captain America, because man, do I love him in this movie. Hey, I actually really like the fact that, unlike Thor, where it did have a strong leading actress who had a great deal of passion for science, this one, however, had an Asian girl that did more than just stand there. Like, once in a while, she actually did kick ass. And I actually really liked it, hey, to see her kick some ass and be able to shoot this guy from feet and yards away directly in the back of his head to try and stop him from stealing this serum that made Captain America from this puny guy to what he is. Oh, if I forgot to mention, there are spoilers. I probably should have mentioned that first. There probably are going to be spoilers throughout this. So if I've already spoiled some of the action for you, luckily I'm not spoiling much so far. Basically, if you sort of have an idea of his origin stories, which I guarantee you kind of do from the previews, I'm not really spoiling that much. It's a story about a guy who's too weak to see combat, but he really wants to be able to help it basically end the war. He doesn't want to fight so much as end the war, and that's something that they love to point out about him. Where a guy is more interested, like if a guy has you know what? I'm not gonna even say it because the movie's gonna explain it a lot better than I did. But the way they handled it, I just loved the way they handled it. And like, out of all these guys, why pick the shrimp? Then have a beefy guy be beefier. Yeah, they had a perfectly logical explanation for that. Um, the a amount of work it must have took for them just to be able to you know, even do this is staggering. Just the amount of costumes, the setting, and all sorts of other stuff. I particularly liked everything that had Stark Industries over there. Here, kind of geeking out, like, oh, that must be hey, Tony Stark's grandfather. Here, I wonder how often that's going to be mentioned in the Avengers movie, which is probably going to be a lot. And how do you not mention, hey, I fought the Red Skull with your grandfather? Isn't that kind of cool? Kind of seemed to play up a lot more drama and action though than Thor did. Thor had a little more comedy in it than Captain America did. It did have comedy, but it was like usually just some random spouting of quick wit to it or something like that. There's this one scene though. This is a spoiler, so if you don't want it revealed, just cover or mute me for the next couple of minutes. But it doesn't really amount to much. There's a scene in there where they're going through the prison and they're trying to bust everybody out, and his best friend, like, we're almost certain that he's gonna die, and then he doesn't. But what bothered me is that in about another 10-15 minutes, they kill him anyways. Like, really? You let him survive just to have him die? Okay. And, like, that was one of my few problems with this. That and the whole post prison thing. For some reason, the editing just didn't sit right with me. It almost feels like they were rushing too much. And granted, I loved everything with the backstory, but I guess they could have left a couple things out or could have changed a couple things. I do love the way that they mass marketed Captain America with these shows and the comic books, which is a really smart idea to all the fans because it could say, well, you know, sometimes the comic books were spreading lies. This was propaganda, most likely. Hey, and that's what he was used for, propaganda, to try and get people to buy war bonds. Hey, at least it didn't felt that way in a bad way. It felt like this is a good 2-hour long movie, like you're sitting watching Return of the King or Harry Potter, which I'm about ready to go into. But overall, you know, great action, great storytelling, costuming, acting, directing, editing up till like when they're just plowing through these factories. I just yes, and of course I stayed after the credits to actually watch the Adventures trailer, which moment I saw what was going on, I kind of just had the fangirl squee. Even though most of these, the stuff that's going on, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. But, you know, these were designed to get people reading their comic books, and they do a good job of introducing us to these characters and making us care exactly what's going on with their lives and how they came to be and all that. And I'm actually shocked at myself because I thought for sure there was somebody else in the Avengers, but I realized no, it's Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. And we've already been introduced to Iron Man through, 2-3 movies? I haven't actually seen them yet, but I probably should before I actually go see the Avengers. But I loved this movie. I still like Thor more, but I'm also excited for the Avengers movie. And I guess that's really it. I'm just kind of spouting whatever comes to mind right now, and hopefully this sticks up. Next, I'll do Harry Potter.